Alrighty, everyone, we're gonna get started. The camera was just following Jim. I want to welcome you again to one of our periodic updates as we navigate through COVID-19 and everything that we've been trying to do to assess our needs as well as to respond/react so that we could assist our students in completing the semester as well as assist ourselves in remaining healthy. So I hope that most of you are practicing social distancing. As you can see here, we're pretty spread apart, still a little bit close. I realize that these are pretty uncertain times, and I do want to weigh in that we're all probably feeling that our health, families, education, and our finances are very fragile. And we're going to continue to experience some of this, but I'm personally glad that I'm experiencing it here where I feel very supported. And I want to recognize all of the work that you guys have been doing in ensuring that I feel that level of support. I want to recognize my team because they've been here all along and working through some of the crazy ideas that may come to my head. For some of them, they've been voluntold to participate in these meetings with me. But I think it's important because some questions I may not be able to answer, and some questions are just best answered with the subject matter experts that lead each of those areas. I do believe that as a college and as a community, we've been responding pretty positively to the idea that we want to help our students complete their term. I think that we were a little bit slow in the beginning, and we're picking up on being responsive to our own health and well-being. We have been trying to push a little bit more of the work from home as far as trying to maintain some of our operations in place. I think that this will continue to evolve, and we'll probably see a little bit more of the work from home happening. We have been trying to keep everyone informed, but like I've been saying in most of the updates, we're only as informed as the last message that came out. So it's changing frequently. It's very fluid. There have been some modest changes that have been well communicated, and in other instances, we feel that we could probably do better with the communication. And we'll continue to push along. I think that we're all experiencing this together. But with that being said, some of the more recent updates that I don't think that we've emphasized in recent past were communications on self-quarantining for anyone that's come from out of the state. But now, and I think as of today, even inter-island travel, there is an expectation for self-quarantining. So we're being a little bit more tight with regulations here. And this is again with the intent to flatten the curve. So to reduce the extent to which we are exposed, and so I think that those are valuable moves. Last week, both the governor and mayor declared a stay-at-home and work-from-home order that included some exceptions. And so the intent of this is to, if you can work from home, please do so that we could reduce exposure and the possibility of getting infected with COVID-19. The University of Hawaii has an exception on this for anyone that works on, delivering instruction and or supporting the delivery of instruction online. And this is important for us because we have heard of instances of people that have gotten pulled over and cited as much as $5,000 for not obeying the stay-at-home or work-from-home order. And this is in instances where people may have been visiting friends or doing something outside of the exceptions rules. And so with that, we want to continue promoting the idea of working from home and just being safe. As all of this COVID-19 pandemic continues to evolve, we'll continue to provide some of these updates. The frequency is shorter, it's not as frequent, because there aren't as many changes that are coming about, but we're finding some decisions need to be made and changes need to happen in order for us to continue delivering our instructional services. Those are taking a little bit longer because now we are putting efforts with the consultation with different bargaining units as well as faculty senates and the different units that have to deliver the services just to ensure that we could sustain these efforts. One of these that I want to share, and there'll be a little bit more detail later on, is that, and I say this as informally as I can, as we were trying to sustain services and do well by our students, we tried to keep some services on campus. For instance, lending out the laptops to the students, providing spaces where they could use our Wi-Fi. Now, these are instances where we have resources that students may need to use based on their unique circumstances. I think that one of the changes is where we still had some services that were running on campus that required the students to be on campus. And one of those were, for instances, where we were proctoring exams. And so that's an instance where the content's being delivered online, but the requirement of having the students to come to the testing center to take the test is one that was outside of the scope of online delivery. So on that, we'll have a little bit of an update in just a little bit from the testing center, but that's something where we're going to reduce those services. And, you know, as we continue to explore other ways of supporting our students, there may be other changes that come about. This is one conduit of how we're informing folks of what's happening. We're going to be updating our question and answers websites. We're going to continue allowing questions to come through the different links and have more of these live sessions. But we're going to also be crafting messages that you could share with students and among yourselves, just to make sure that we get the message out. I don't know how many people we have right now on the call. How many? 100. 100 folks. 102. Wow, 102. That's pretty impressive. So I think that we're getting a lot of traction and getting the message out, but it's important to reinforce it. I made a pretty blasphemous mistake, and that's that I scheduled this meeting conflicting with some professional development opportunities that are happening at the same time, and I apologize for that. Totally unintended. For that reason, we're recording this so that those individuals that are participating in those sessions are able to still get the information. We do then take summaries from these as well as any answers to questions that come up through the session, and we update our website. What we've been doing is basically adding dates to when things changed. So if we had an initial position and that changed, we'll put that update and keep the older version there to some extent so that you could see the evolution of the changes as they've been coming about. I want to share a couple of other updates that you may have gotten through other communications. The first one is that the extension of the withdrawal deadline for students that's been pushed to April 30th. Another update is that we are almost at the point for summer registration to open, and that's April 6th. That has not changed. We're going to continue with that deadline. Again, some of these communications may have come out, but you're getting it from me. There has been consultation with UPA about summer classes, and so right now we are in the position to plan for only online delivery in summer session 1. We are also planning for only online delivery for summer session 2, with the caveat that later in May, we will have another conversation. If we are closer to being able to come back to normal, we may be able to transition some of those classes to face-to-face. But right now, the planning is for online. There have been some questions that have come up through the question channels on what we are doing for the fall. I want to say that it's a little bit early for us to react on fall, but we have been getting different feedback from experts in the field and as to what may be happening in the fall. I think that the circumstances that we're living are helping us prepare for other iterations if something like this is to happen again. I would hope that we don't have to continue exercising just distance education. But we'll have to let the time pass just a little bit further for us to make any decisions, and there would have to also be consultation with UPA over what happens in the fall semester and thereafter. And so with that, I'm going to answer a couple of questions that I think came up recently in the question channels. We are still supportive of student employees working. And so we don't want to cut that opportunity for our students. We are very supportive of them. We may be creative, and I've been talking to my team about other ways in which we could engage the student employees, especially for those that used to have tasks on campus that we may no longer need or that we're promoting to. So sort of do away with in the interim, but maybe reassigning student employees to other tasks. And so we do want to continue supporting them in that capacity. We took bets earlier today and as to whether I would stay on my script, and I already got off it. So budgetarily, and in a little bit, I'm going to punt over to different members of the team to share a little bit of updates. I'll share that the state and UH as a whole are going to take a budget hit. We don't know to what extent, and we don't know what the ramifications are yet. But there are going to be some measures that we're going to put in place to ensure that we don't, we don't overextend ourselves right now and then have a really bad next year. But the challenge with a state that is so that depends so heavily on tourism and the current situation is that everyone's going to feel that pressure, and so we're going to have to adjust accordingly. The last thing that I want to say before I punt it over is just a quick reminder. We're living through these challenging times, but we're still very committed. I'm still very committed to our way. Now more than ever, I think we need to put in our strongest effort in trying to keep the students that we have, keep them engaged, keep them and help them complete, keep them and or help them register for next semester. With the changing environment in our economy, if we look at past trends, community colleges have generally benefited from the enrollment standpoint. That's not to say that a recession isn't going to hit us on the budget side. But if we do experience that surge of students, it's going to help balance a little bit. But we don't know that that's a given. And so in the interim, I hope that we work diligently to help keep the students that we have and get them through. Connect with your students whenever possible. Respond to answers as quickly as we can. When I've gotten some questions myself, I try to send it to whomever has an answer and try to respond quickly because folks are anxious. I'm anxious. I'm anxious if I don't know an answer and I don't know what our students are experiencing. It's really a critical time for us to assess that and try to do the best that we can for our students. And so with that in mind, again, just keep our wig going so that we could, we don't have to reset the clock. We could just keep pushing forward. And so with that, I want to first go over to Kay to share some updates and or important highlights from her area, especially those that are hitting on some of the questions that we've gotten more frequently on the different question channels.
Thanks, Carlos. Hi, everyone. Nice to see your names. I love it when I can see your faces, so you can open up your cameras. Give us a wave, because I miss seeing everybody on campus. Anyway, Carlos touched on basis about the test center that we're going to be closing. The last day will be on Friday. We have been assessing the volume over the last couple of days and weeks, and we have had students from other campuses coming, taking their teachers' tests on our campus. So that we stopped this week on Wednesday, today, by notifying their vice chancellors that we would only let Leeward students in our lab this week. But we're facing the health and safety of our student health as well as our staff. So the testing center, the last test will be on Friday. If there's any instructors who had done makeup tests for their students and they are still at the test center, would you please contact either Horacio, Denise, or Scott, arrange to have them picked up. Normally, we would have you physically come pick them up, but we would like to have them scan it and they will file drop it to you for the security of that test. So if you can make arrangements by Friday, we'd appreciate it, because we know you need those tests in order to compute the students' grades. So the test center is closed, but the help desk, who are the same staff, they will be available by phone call or email. So if you have any problems with your computers, maybe hooking up with Zoom, they are still available to help you. And if you want a one-on-one consultation, just call them and make an appointment, and they will be glad to get back to you. Carlos already touched that April 6th, fall as summer registration is happening. There was discussion to try to push it back, but the system came up and said things were in place, so it will begin on April 6th as scheduled. The withdrawal deadline for classes has been moved back to April 30th. And then the big topic has been credit, no credit, or a grade. We are still talking with the different groups, the governance groups, the faculty and staff, the UPA working groups, to determine how that will be implemented. As soon as a decision is made, we will let you know. Things have a tendency to be changing dates and changing how we handle things. So we want to make sure what we share with you is pretty solid before we let you know, because we don't want you to be confused. Well, at least I don't, as much as I am confused half the time. Any online proctoring that we were hoping to get support from the system is not going to happen. The latest one has been pushed out from many faculty to their vice chancellors on a place called Top Hat, offering free online proctoring. There was someone looked it over, and it is not free to our students. So please be very careful. We prefer that you use LELIMA and some alternative methods to assess your SLOs. And that's the most important part, is just you have activities in order to assess your SLOs, so the students you know are successful in your class. Any other proctoring type products you might be looking at, they should not be an expense to our students, but they must go through a data governance process through our school, through our system. And that's to protect the data that we have. So if you have any questions, drop me an email. I think you know my email, same as my name, kayyono@hawaii.edu. Lecture evaluation is the last thing I want to touch on. The original date for lecturers to submit their lecture evals was April 1. I actually gave everybody another week and said if there's special circumstances, we could do that on a one-by-one case. However, the system felt a need to have a consistent date. That date now for lecture evaluations due to your division is now May 1. And then we will get back to you as soon as possible on the evaluations process. I think that's it for me. Back to you, Carlos.
All right, I'm going to punt it over now, and I don't know if we could even do this. Cami, can you unmute yourself?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Hi, everybody. So first of all, wanted to let everybody know that all of the services offered through Student Services is still being offered. We are completely remote, so by email, phone, Zoom, but we're still there, still servicing our students. So if you have students who need anything through Student Services, let us know because they can still get in touch with us and we can still work with them. Couple of updates. Early college went back in session this week on Monday. They are all the classes are online. And so we are working that out. Any individual hiccups that might be arising are being addressed by our early college team together with the teacher and the school. So we are on our way with that. A quick reminder to early college instructors, as folks talk about, you know, credit, no credit, and those kinds of things, though credit, no credit options do not apply to early college classes because of the dual credit aspect of early college classes in that the credits that they earn apply to both college and high school. The credit, no credit option does not apply there. Kay already talked about the withdrawal deadline and it's pushed back. So folks have until April 30th to withdraw from their classes. They can do this themselves through STAR. They don't need any intervention or special approval to withdraw from their classes. So they can still do that. And then the last update that I have is yesterday, the University of Hawaii system rolled out a new opportunity for students, an urgent student relief fund. So students were sent the announcement yesterday morning. This relief fund is available for students who are experiencing unexpected financial difficulties that are getting in the way of their ability to remain students or to remain attentive to their education. So students who find themselves in that situation can submit an application to the relief fund. The deadline is Wednesday by 4:00 p.m. every week. We then will work to review the documentation and then notify of students of their reward, the decision on their application pretty quickly. We're trying to do a quick turnaround on these applications. Students' preference is going to be given to students who are enrolled in at least 6 credits, and students have to be in a credit-bearing degree or certificate program. So early college students and OSUT students are not able to apply to this fund. I think that's all I have, Carlos.
Thank you, Leanne.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to let you know about academic services. We are still open, just like County Shop. Our areas are offering services. Some are still in person, but you can, for example, key office are, because of the student population, if they have to come in and take tests, they can come in by appointment. So just like Cammie's area, we're available 8 to 4 via phone, Zoom, and other ways, email. One of the areas that we've heard that there is continues to be some challenge in alternate assessment. And so you should have seen emails that came out this week. The Media Center concentrated heavily on providing resources in that area. So there was a 4-part email series breaking out different options on how you can potentially provide alternative assessments. So I encourage you, if you haven't read it yet, to go back in your email and to look for those assessment ideas. Some include rubrics, using Laulima with randomized testing, with a large test pool, things like that. And then today at 2, there was a conversation on doing those strategies. So that will continue to be offered. If you just need somebody to bounce ideas around with, and people in your division, if you're having a hard time, Brent and Rachel are available to bounce ideas on those kinds of things with you. The Teaching Continuity Guide continues to be your place to find resources. So it's continually being updated, tutorials are being added. So I encourage you to check back there often. Erin has also created a wonderful way for faculty to connect to each other, as well as to experts or facilitators who can help you through this process. And it's called Under the Ulu Tree. So again, I encourage you to look in your email and look for that invitation to be a part of that. The second thing I wanted to talk about was the laptop loaner program. I apologize if there was any misinformation or poor communication, but we do have laptop loaners for students. And so a lot of you probably know who your students are who don't have laptops. So please encourage them to go to the library between 10 and 12, make an appointment. So the phone number is extension 210. So 455-0210, make an appointment, and students can borrow a PC laptop for a long-term loan. So they just need to have an ID, a UHID preferably, and then they have to be currently enrolled. That won't continue forever. So we just encourage you, it's a first come, first serve. And if your students need that, please encourage them to come and check that out. Also, if Wi-Fi is an issue, if they don't have internet access, they can come to campus and they can go anywhere. I've seen students on the benches outside. Uluvehi Cafe has been open for people to study, and it has good wireless there. So encourage your students to take advantage if they don't have it at home. We have also heard that Spectrum is giving it for free to students to have it at home. So that's another option. And then finally, the key office is available. So as I mentioned before, there might have been some confusion that our services are closed, and they're not closed. So Key has sent emails out specifically to the students with disabilities. So they sent an email last week on the 23rd when school started again. They followed up this week, reaching out again. So if you do know of students who have disabilities in your class, please encourage them to reach out to the Key office because they are available. They're willing to do Zoom or any kind of appointment that may be needed. They can also do testing. And so they are doing appointment testing in the Key office. I think that's all I have. Carlos?
All right, thanks, Leanne. Mark?
My turn. Hi, everybody. Aloha. Hope you and your ohana are doing well and staying healthy. I have a few updates, and some of this may be repeat information, but it's probably good to hear it again. So the first thing I want to cover is from the human resources area, and that's the work from home process and procedures. Now, Carlos sent out an email on March 23rd that listed step-by-step all the processes and the procedures that you have to go through to work from home. So reference that email. It has links to the forms and all that. So that's the first place to start. Again, that was Carlos's March 23rd email to the campus. Okay, regarding the work from home request and agreement form, who does not need to complete that form? There's only 2 groups of employees on campus that do not have to complete that agreement. That is 9-month instructional faculty and lecturers. Those are the only 2 employee groups that do not need to complete that form who wish to work from home. Everybody else needs to complete that form, the work request, the work from home request, and then they need to follow that up with the work plan within 5 business days after the supervisor approves it. So all non-instructional faculty, all APTs, all clerical staff, even administrators need to complete the work from home request, okay? All right. Documenting your work from home through the online leave system. So this is new information, and we'll be following up with an email to the campus regarding this information. So if you have completed and received approval of your work from home request, then you document your time when you're working from home on the online leave system. On Friday at the end of each week, submit to your supervisor an online leave form indicating the hours you work from home. So this needs to be done every Friday. When completing your leave request, under the drop-down menu, select leave type COVID-19 work from home, and then complete the form and send it to your supervisor, okay? So select the COVID-19 work from home leave category, and then do this at every Friday with your hours that you work from home. And of course, our HR office will be verifying whether or not you do this, because they're going to be comparing the leave from work from home forms with the online leave system. And so the system office is actually looking at this data also. Okay. Next
Mark.
topic.
I got a question. So what if you have like work from home permission to only work, say, 1 day a week, but you come in all the time anyway, like us DCs, you know, we're always here. Do I still have to fill out some form and say I came in an hour late on this day or did that or this?
If you're working from home, you need to fill the online leave form. That's what
Okay.
we're asking. That's the best guidance that we have at the present time. Okay? There could be further guidance, but the guidance we have received to date tells us if you're working from home, complete the COVID-19 leave type and submit that every week.
By hours?
Yeah, you have to indicate the hours on your leave form anytime you submit a leave. So,
Okay,
thank you, Jim.
okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Different topic. So I'm going to move from HR to facilities use. Okay, so remember that the campus is not open to the general public, only for our current students, employees, contractors, and delivery personnel. Okay. On facilities use, please do not submit until further notice requests or reservations for room use. We are not entertaining any requests or reservations for facilities use at the present time. Okay. And then if you are on campus, please carry your keys wherever you go because all the electronic doors are in the locked default mode right now, okay? So just a couple reminders. Okay, from the business office, the cashier window service is still operational. We're doing social distancing protocols. And so their hours currently are 8 to 3:30 for window service. All right. Payday is on Friday. Okay. There are many hard copy checks that are not direct deposited to financial institutions for employees or student employees. These checks will be mailed to the employee's record of address of record. And we're going to be doing this until further notice. So no employees or student employees should come to the business office to pick up their paychecks, okay? So Friday is payday. This will be the first day that we send out the hard copy checks via regular mail. And there'll be a little note in there asking the employees to consider doing direct deposit so we don't have to go through this anymore, okay? So appreciate you getting the word out to anyone who has a hard copy check. The bookstore wanted to remind everyone that they have moved to online services only. They are not closed, but they're doing their delivery just from an online service standpoint only for textbooks and other materials. You can't go to the store and browse the shelves or that kind of thing. Okay, from operations and maintenance, just a couple notices or a couple reminders. Services via work orders will only be requested and fulfilled on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The UH Manila mail run will continue every day, so there's no change in service. On-campus mail, there's no delivery to the campus departments. You have to come to the Diamond Head Portables Conference Room, Building B, to drop off and pick up your mail. Large items or bulk items will be scheduled for delivery with the department. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about restroom closures, okay? Right now we have approximately, we have a few more, but we have approximately 53 campus restrooms, 27 of which still remain open, okay? So yes, it may be a little bit more inconvenient for you right now, but I hope you can respect the employees who have to service the restrooms, who wipe them down up to 3 times a day. And so I hope you can exercise some patience and consideration for those who have to, who are required to come to campus and service the campus facilities. I will say though, and give you a heads up, that more restroom closures are forthcoming. And so my team is assessing which restrooms are being used and not used. And so another closure list will be coming next week. And the last thing I'd like to talk about very briefly is the budget and fiscal challenges ahead, okay? So the last time we faced a significant budget shortfall was the recession, which occurred about 12 years ago. And it took several years after that recession for us to recover. If you were around at that time, you'll recall that we experienced a couple rounds of budget reductions. Employees were put on furloughs, and all employees endured significant pay cuts. So based on the latest economic models and forecasts, we can expect similar, if not greater, measures to take place during the fiscal challenges ahead. The good news is that the finances of our college are in pretty good shape, and we have built financial reserves in accordance with UH policies. Those policies were put in place after the Great Recession in 2008 and 9. So and all the campuses have done that, have tucked away some of those reserves in case of times such as this. I don't think that those reserves will be sufficient enough to meet the challenges that are ahead. So Carlos and I will be communicating with you regularly regarding our budget as the magnitude of the situation gets better defined. So we don't have a lot of hard numbers at this point, but that is for sure coming in the weeks ahead, and we'll keep you informed as best we can. Okay.
Thank you. Well, with that, yes.
Just a very quick update to, I am now muted. So I want to.
We could hear you through the.
You got it? Okay. In addition to Spectrum for your students, when you're talking about technology, point them back to the student information page. There's a new grid. One of the blocks is called Tech Toolbox. I just got this from everybody else's website, so, but it's AT&T is offering something Sprint, and there's a lot of different offers right now. I also have a link to the grab and go for the DOE for students with kids, so it's all right on the top of the same page. You can scroll down and get the same information, but that's right for the students. If they need to know something, it's all at the very top. Thank you.
Oh.
And the questions that came in are, what are the hours for the cafeteria?
Same as before. No change in service.
Well, what were, I don't know, what were the hours?
Let me look it up.
8 till whatever.
We could put it on our updated website.
We could put it on the updated website if I knew what they were.
But whatever you have on the website is accurate. But we know that Subway is closed, Kimo Bean is closed.
And still just grab and go for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the cafeteria, the dining area remains open for student use with the proper social distancing protocols in place.
I have a couple of other comments as if we're getting questions, but we've reached out to our accrediting bodies, not just ACC, JC, but those that are for our programs that are programmatically accredited, and for the most part, everyone is not to suggest that they're giving allowances, but they're very understanding of the situations, and with most people moving things online, we've gotten documentation or at least messages from them that we'll be in compliance. Just try to do the best that we can do, and that's what our faculty and staff has been doing. So I'm appreciative of that. We're good on that front. I wanna suggest to, relative to the COVID-19 leave, for those of us that may be working from home in any capacity, those that are entering that leave doesn't actually take from your accrued leave. So I just want to make sure, that we mention that. It's just another way of us tracking for the sake of what may come later on budget-wise and what we may be able to get from, from the federal government if there's any monies that come our way. to help mitigate some of our budgetary challenges. Any questions so far? Kathleen?
You've answered everything.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, I feel good. And so with that, and as we begin to unwind a little bit, this was meant to be an opportunity for us to share a lot of the changes that have already happened campus-wide in one meeting. So not just updates from all of the crazy changes, but rather things that have been happening over the last couple of weeks, and just to solidify them. We'll continue updating the page, but I wanted to really take an opportunity. We're not doing this alone. There's a lot of faculty and staff that are really behind us in doing all of this stuff, and I really want to acknowledge that, especially because everyone is operating in a reactive pace. We are throwing out some concerns or issues and where we have to address them relatively quickly. So I appreciate all of the work that everyone is doing. We're going to continue to connect in other ways. But I really appreciate everyone's understanding and the fact that everyone's willing to take, I don't know what time it is, just about an hour from their time to get these updates. Just stay with us. I'm hopeful that we're beginning to, you know, do that plateau and come back to normal. But until then, say hi to me whenever possible. I walk around and it's pretty lonely out there, but I love our campus. I love what we've been doing. And so just, you know, stay connected and be supportive of our students. We're all struggling the same. I have 4 kids at home that are super loud and all, you know, doing a lot more homework than I used to assign as a college professor. So that's, all right. Is that it? Okay, if any other questions come up, we'll update the website, and as more things bubble up, we may offer more of these sessions. But thank you guys for staying with us, and you know, let's keep on trekking along with our way. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.